everybody, Jemma Hatt here, and my fifth book in the adventurous series, The Adventures and the Jungle of Jeopardy, is out now. And I wanted to read to you the very first chapter. So here it is. Chapter 1, What's Going On? Daisy had mixed feelings about the summer holidays. On the one hand, she enjoyed not having to do any schoolwork, especially maths. But on the other hand, she missed the drama of school life. There was always a buzz about something. She checks her phone for the 10th time in the past 30 seconds. Her best friend Lara had still not messaged her back, and it had been 5 whole minutes. With a sigh, Daisy rolled off her bed and looked out of the window. Lara's mum's car was in the driveway, meaning that everyone was at home. Daisy was about to head over there when a loud roar came down the street. An old Jeep screeched to a stop in front of the house with a cloud of smoke behind it. A tall, tanned, muscular man wearing shorts, a t-shirt and safari hat jumped out and jogged towards the house, letting himself in with a key. A dark-haired woman followed him from the car. Daisy recognised the pair as Lara's Uncle Logan and his on-off partner Dee. They're meant to be abroad filming a TV show, thought Daisy before rushing downstairs to grab her shoes. Daisy, where are you going? Called Lara's mum from the kitchen. Just popping out. You're not going to Lara's house, are you? Yeah. Don't knock for Lara this afternoon. It looks like they've got company. Her uncle's just shown up. Oh, has he? Asked Daisy, a little too high-pitched. Okay, Mum, I won't knock. Daisy slipped on her trainers and went to stand in her front driveway. She looked up at the kitchen window until her mother's back was turned, then crossed the street to Lara's house. Always one to keep to her word, she skipped past the front door and let herself in through the back gate. Daisy looked through the patio doors and could hear Logan talking to Lara and Rufus by the front door. It sounds crazy, said Lara. But so cool, added Rufus. Do you think your mum will go for it? Asked Logan. Of course she won't, came Dee's voice. Let's ask her, said Lara. Daisy saw her friend go upstairs, followed by Logan, Dee, her cousin Rufus and her dog, Barney. Daisy pushed her ear to the glass but could not make out the muffled sounds from upstairs. What's going on? She wrung her hands together. The curiosity was too much to bear. Next to the patio doors was a trellis with pink roses weaved in and out of the wooden squares. She grabbed hold and started to climb. Pausing next to the study window, the conversation became audible. Daisy smiled and listened. Inside, Mrs. Jacobs was sitting by her desk. Not a chance, she said. Logan put his hand on his sister-in-law's shoulder. I know it sounds nuts, but it's really important to me, Sarah. My show won't get made if we can't make this happen. It's too dangerous. It's not, I promise you. There'll be a whole crew. We can get the whole thing done in a couple of weeks. There's no way I'm letting you lot run into some madcap adventure yet again. We'll have local guides, drivers, security, the TV crew, insisted Logan. Please, Sarah, I can't get fired again. If you think about it, said Rufus, it's way safer than a normal holiday. Mrs. Jacobs tilted her head at her nephew. How do you work that one out? On a normal holiday, there's just us, but on a TV show with all those people, we can't just wander off. Yeah. Logan's eyes were animated. There's a strict schedule. Every minute of every day is planned out. Outside on the wall, Daisy was listening intently. It sounded like Lara's mum had got up from her chair, and the voices became much quieter. Daisy edged her hands and feet across the trellis to get closer to the window. Ouch! Daisy's fingers gripped spiky thorns as she let go in shock. Whoa! Inside, Barney barked, and everyone turned to the window to see a trellis full of roses crashing to the ground, with an auburn-haired girl riding underneath. They rushed downstairs to find her lying across a bush, covered in broken wood and rose petals. Daisy, are you all right? Called Lara. Yeah, the bush broke my fall. Logan lifted the 13-year-old out of the foliage and back onto her feet. What were you doing? Asked Rufus with a raised eyebrow. I wanted to see how you all were. Lara rolled her eyes. Is this because I didn't text you back within 10 minutes? Why didn't you knock on the door like a normal person? Daisy blushed, turning from the trellis wreckage to Lara's mum. Sorry about the roses, Mrs. Jacobs. Never mind that, Mrs. Jacobs frowned as she saw Barney licking Daisy's knee. "You've grazed yourself. Come into the kitchen and I'll get you a plaster." Daisy put an arm on Lara's shoulder and hopped towards the kitchen. "What's going on then?" she whispered as soon as Mrs. Jacobs, Logan and Dee had returned indoors. Lara and Rufus looked at each other and grinned. "We're going to Costa Rica," they said together. "Costa Rica?" Daisy's eyes were wide. "Yeah, but we've got to convince my mum first." Inside the kitchen, Daisy dabbed at her knee with a tissue. "So, what's all this about Costa Rica?" Dee let out a sigh and looked up at the ceiling. "Logan's jungle trek has been postponed." "What?" cried Daisy. "I thought you were supposed to be filming it now." "We were." Logan paced the kitchen. "But the execs decided I needed more TV exposure. They're saying it's been too long since I've last been on TV for the show to be successful. It's crazy." "It's not really." Rufus picked up Lara's phone from the table and typed before waving the device in the air. "See?" The others leaned forward, squinting. Rufus had typed Logan's name into the internet and a suggested search appeared on the screen. "Is Logan Jacobs dead?" "Oh my gosh!" squalled Logan. Lara clapped her hand on her forehead. "It's been so long since you've been on TV that people are wondering whether you've died." Daisy giggled. "So where does Costa Rica come in?" "Well," Logan scratched the back of his head, "I applied for a few TV shows, reality type stuff, dancing shows and things, but nobody got back to me. Then I saw this advert for a TV adventuring show. It sounded really cool. They wanted teams of 6 to 8 people to go out to Costa Rica on this treasure hunting challenge. So I signed us up, and we've been chosen to represent the UK." "Who exactly did you sign up?" asked Lara. "Here." Logan handed his niece a copy of an email. Lara read a list of names. "Logan Jacobs, leader. Lara Jacobs, deputy leader. Rufus Kexley, Tom Burt, Barney Jacobs, Dee Okoye. There's a slight problem here." "Yeah, there is." Rufus stabbed the paper with his finger and glared at his cousin. "How come you're the deputy leader?" Lara frowned. "Not that. Logan's listed Barney as one of the 6 contestants. I know we all count him as a person, but will the TV company?" "Oh, I spoke to them about that," said Logan. "We can bring a dog with us. The TV company are making arrangements, something to do with a pet passport." Lara flapped the piece of paper in the air. "But the minimum is still 6 and there's only 5 humans on this list." Daisy's face lit up as she stuck her arm out high in the air. "Ooh, ooh." "We're not at school," said Rufus. Daisy put her hand down. "Me, I can be number 6. "Hang on a minute," said Mrs. Jacobs. "You're all talking as if this is happening. Logan, why have you signed up 3 children and a dog to be on your team? Is that allowed? Have you no other adult friends?" Dee burst into laughter, clutching her sides. As she wiped tears from her eyes, she looked at the straight faces around her. "Oh, that was a serious question?" Logan shrugged and stared at the floor. "I told them we all have experience in this sort of thing, and it's hard to believe, I know, but you guys are the only ones who like me." "Well, I don't like you much and you've put my name on the list," said Dee. "And why have you put me last after the dog?" "I thought you might not want to do it." "I don't particularly." Dee turned her back to Logan. "What about May?" said Lara, thinking of their friend who had moved from Egypt to London recently with her family. "She could come with us for another adventure." "Okay," Rufus rubbed his hands together. "So we'll take Dee's name off and add Daisy and May. That's 7. "Yes!" Daisy hugged her waist. "No!" cried Mrs. Jacobs. So that is chapter 1 of The Adventurers and the Jungle of Jeopardy, out now in paperback, ebook and audiobook. If you would like more information, then sign up to my website newsletter, www.jemmahatt.com, and see you soon. Happy adventuring!